time, I will let everyone know, yes, this is being recorded. So don't worry. The entire session is being recorded. The entire webinar is being recorded. We'll get that posted to our YouTube channel later today. So don't worry if you're not sure, just hit our YouTube channel later today and you'll see the recording there, but it is being recorded.
And also, does my voice sound buttery smooth now?
Oh, buttery smooth.
Yes.
You got it.
Okay. We are back and I can hear better. I was like, oh no. Okay. Now it's time. So as Scott mentioned this, that it is being recorded, but really quick though, who are we? Why are we here today? So really quickly, just want to introduce ourselves. Cause I feel like when we do these webinars, sometimes we completely forget to say who we are. And we're just like, oh, here we go. Cause we're so excited with Travefy. But I am Stephanie and I'm
guys
really
all know
excited
us, right?
Yeah, don't you know? But if this is your first time joining us, these might be new faces. So I'm Stephanie. We got Scott. Scott down there.
Hi, I'm Scott.
And wonderful Bonnie.
No.
Bonnie, we love Bonnie. She's amazing.
Happy to
She's
be
awesome.
here.
Yes. Bonnie is the best. And she's a senior client champion. And guess what? We have her to help with Q&A. So you're getting some of the best question answer around town. You got Bonnie in here, client champion team representing, which is so exciting. So with that, a couple housekeeping things before we dive in here is one, Scott mentioned this, but this is being recorded. We completely understand, it's a busy time. It is really busy lately. And so if you get like a client call, you got to hop off, or if you really are only able to be here for a short time, that's okay. This is being recorded. We will email everybody who registered the recording, but we're also going to put this on our YouTube channel later today as well. So just give us a couple hours after it ends, and then it'll get up on our YouTube channel. So that way you can be able to watch it and go back, because we're doing a lot today. So you might want to go back and check it out. So all of that, we're also going to have a lot of links, like some free stuff for you and some FAQs being thrown your way. So I'm going to make sure that all those links that we give you are also going to go in the description of that YouTube. So know that. So like there's a place to go get everything after this. We will organize it for you. So that is a great thing there. The other thing to mention here too is we're also going to be answering questions. So as I mentioned, Bonnie's in there. We got 3 of us here today for a reason, because we're ready to answer those questions and really dig really deep in today. So Bonnie's going to be in the back helping to answer those questions. So use that Q&A panel if you're able, because that's a little easier just for us to manage. So use that Q&A panel in your Zoom toolbar. And then if you get a response, it might be Bonnie, it might be Scott. Scott's probably going to hop in there and answer some as well.
Oh, yeah.
Then, maybe we'll see if he can, we'll see what he can.
I'm in there. Don't worry. I'm in there.
Yeah,
you got
okay,
questions,
cool.
You send them our way. Me and Bonnie, we got this.
Got this.
Oh yeah.
But also, we also totally know sometimes we don't get to them all, especially towards the end when a lot of questions get stirred up. And then we're like, okay, bye. So know that we are here to help and answer those after this too. So we do have our support team ready to go if you live chat them in your account, but you can also send us an email at professional@travefy.com if you have a question that doesn't get answered. Or as you start doing stuff after this webinar and you're like, how did you do that? Just hit us up. We're happy to help answer those questions as well in there. But then for the agenda, here's what I'm thinking today. So this is what we have, a lot to cover again. So for today, we are going to start off. I always like to start off with like a quick Travefy overview, because for those of you this is your first time seeing Travefy, this is awesome, but I always like to show you, everything that's possible. And we won't obviously have enough time to go through all of it, but at least you know what is possible. But then we're going to dig deeper into today's topic, which is CRM and automation. But it's not just CRMs and automations. It's CRMs, it's forms, it's invoices, it's the automation part. So it's a lot of things. So if you're only able to join us for the first 15, 20 minutes, this is going to be your time to really get an overview of everything and really see it all. But then after that, if you're able to stick around, I'm actually going to go in and start doing a demo walkthrough. So then that way we'll go off the slides and we'll go into the real deal, and you'll be able to see, interface walkthrough, and we'll like send a form. I'll show you how you put it together, all of that good stuff. So we'll really do a really deep dive. But then at the end, of course, we'll talk to you about how you can get started with Travefy if you're not a user currently, and then hopefully answer a few questions for you as well. So, okay, here we go, off to the races. First things first, quick Travefy overview. So again, even if you currently use Travefy, I feel like when I show this to people, they still learn something, because there's a lot to Travefy. Because, we started in the itinerary space, but over the past few years, we've really built so many more tools for every part of your business. So I love this flow that I can walk you through, where we really show you all the different ways that Travefy touches your business. And starting with marketing, when it comes to marketing, what you can use is Travefy's website and landing page builder. This, Bonnie and I can attest. This is, I think every time we get on a webinar, Bonnie are like, these are our favorites. So we love the website and landing page builder. There's just so many endless things you can do with this. It allows you to not only have a website, but if you already have a website somewhere else, you still can use this to create landing pages. And it's really so you can market trips, a group trip, a destination, you name it. It could be lead magnets. I mean, you really can do whatever you want with these. And again, we won't have time to go through this today, but if there's any questions, we're happy to send some links to FAQs and videos, because we have a lot of content on that. But it's great that you do have something marketing wise. But it does start to build into our CRM area, because in the website and landing page builder, you can import a form. So you can start collecting, new client information, details. It becomes, again, where you start getting your leads. And that's where it brings in the forms, which we are going to talk about here today. Now with the forms, you can do credit card authorization. You can collect that information from your clients, and we're going to dig into that. There's going to be a lot that you can do in there. But then with the form information that you get, that you start collecting from customers or from leads, you need a place to store it. You need a place to keep it organized. That's where the CRM came. The CRM, which we call contacts, which again, we'll be going really deeply into today. But this is where you can start to organize all of that contact information, do lots of things. You can go see the forms they filled out, the trips that you've shared with them, all of that good stuff in there, which also includes, of course, the invoicing automation built in as well, which we'll discuss. But then the second part is where, you start doing that sales process of, okay, now I have their information. I know what they want to do. I'm going to start putting together a proposal, and then those are itineraries. Now, the difference really quick, if you're unfamiliar with the difference with a proposal and an itinerary, is the workflow that your client goes through, because a proposal allows them to approve it, and they can fill out a form, and then it converts itself into the itinerary. Now, sometimes you might not need the proposal and you just go straight to the itinerary as well. And that's where your client can, view it on the mobile app and all of that good stuff. So as you can see, there's a lot. It really encompasses your whole entire business in Travefy's platform. And this is all part of your account as well. So I want to make sure that's clear too, that all of this you have access to in your account. There's nothing add-on that you pay extra for. But today, again, there's a lot here, and we would be here for all day long if we could discuss everything. But really where we're going to put our focus in today is that CRM side. We want to talk about the forms, the automations, the CRM. So that's where we're going. So with that being said, I'm going to show you, I'm going to go through a high-level overview, because again, if you only have a little bit of time with us, I want to make sure you have a complete idea of everything that you can do in Travefy. And then we're going to jump into Travefy's platform and then actually go around and demo everything.
Yeah.
It's okay. Oh,
we're connecting the dots. We're connecting the
connect
dots.
the dots.
So no, that workflow is really important, what Stephanie's touching on there, because we're trying to help you connect the dots. We recognize in a lot of your daily workflows, you have these islands and silos of different things that you do. Many systems don't talk to each other. And so we're trying to make it easy, whether your current process, you only use Travefy for certain parts of your business, or if you're using Travefy all the way through from your website to your client forms, credit card authorizations, client management, CRM itineraries, et cetera, that you can work in a much more streamlined fashion. So what Stephanie's highlighting here is super important so that you can see what's possible with Travefy in that regard. But in regards to the CRM, and I don't know if this is a helpful point, Stephanie, to like jump into like the whole big idea behind Travefy's CRM with it is you'll every now and then we hear advisors look at Travefy's CRM and notice that it's really simple. It's really simple. And that's on purpose. What we found is that the market is flooded with CRM systems that have 1,000 features you literally never use. I've lost count of the amount of times I've done meetings with advisors that they avoid using their CRM because it's so painful. They literally only sign into it to enter their commission information because they hate it. They don't like working with it. It's antiquated, it's out of date, it's clunky, doesn't do what they need. So that's a huge problem. Their day-to-day system is broken in that way. And so we've tried to do, instead of, adding in every feature that every user has ever asked for, we're really trying to focus on what are the 10, 15, 20 features that really have to be a part of that core functionality. And so you'll notice on screen there, we're trying to focus on those things, from client information, contact details. Some of you will be surprised with all that you can do in Travefy's CRM now. You can store passport information, passport numbers. You can store loyalty information. You can store traveler preferences. All of that's possible in there. But then we've also been adding in automation, tasks and reminders, client forms and PCI compliant credit card authorizations, invoicing for planning fees, even secure encrypted document storage for client documents. So it's really incredibly powerful. And admittedly, when you first jump into the CRM, it looks pretty simple, because we're not trying to overwhelm you with 5,000 fields that you may only use 5 of them in the future. And so that's why we're really trying to keep it simple, so that if you're just jumping in, quite literally, you can get up and running with Travefy CRM in 10 or 15 minutes. Not 10 or 15 hours, not 10 or 15 days, literally 10 or 15 minutes. You can get up and running, setting up your custom fields, importing some clients and information. So it's designed purposefully to be much simpler. So it's not going to be everything in the kitchen sink. It's going to be a lot of those core tools. So you'll still have a lot of times your agency or host agency's back office system for commission tracking, accounting, things like that. Travefy is really focused on building those essential tools that travel advisors need to work with their clients on a daily basis. And so that's where you'll see those sweet spots, because oftentimes those are the pieces that are missing from a lot of the back office systems or host agency systems that your host agencies offer. So that's where we're focusing. So I wanted to kind of give that kind of overarching idea so that you know how to approach Travefy system and how you can use it. And we'll answer some questions, because I've seen some questions come in just even while I'm talking on ways that you can use Travefy system better and new features that we've released that you may not be aware of. But hopefully that's helpful, Stephanie.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I think that's such a good way to jump off, but like knowing the CRM side, because that is a really big thing. Is, we built this not just to build it. It's built for intention and based off of, all the feedback, the people we talked to, years in the making, like years. So it's really cool. But what's amazing is all of the features built into CRM. So when we talk about CRM or contacts, in there, and you'll really see it as I dive into Travefy's platform, all of the features that are built in here and how many features continue to be built. So it's really easy to miss a feature. Like if we released something a month ago and you're like, I had no idea. It's really easy to miss because we're constantly adding so many things and new layers to it. So hopefully that you'll be able to see that in here. But again, that was a great intro, and I'm really excited to jump into Travefy and walk you through this so you can see it further. But a couple things I wanted to share before we do that, though, is just a couple other things that we're going to be discussing here today. Is the other thing is not just the CRM functionality of keeping contact information organized, but also like forms. Forms are part of your CRM. It's part of the sales workflow. And what I love about the form builder is you can use this for anything, like literally anything. If you just have a simple form that you need to build, that you need to collect the traveler information so you have it in your CRM, or if you need to collect credit card authorization, which we are completely PCI compliant, so end-to-end PCI compliant, so you know that you can get this information and rest easy at night knowing like this is safe and secure. And it's really incredible. And I know I'll let Scott chime in about PCI compliance, because I know there's a lot of like legal things, but what does that mean necessarily, Scott?
Well,
I'm just gonna set you up for this.
I want to lower everyone's expectations. I did not go to college or go to a law school, specialize in any form of PCI compliance in that. What I would say is, and we've mentioned this a few times in webinars as well, meeting with advisors at conferences, don't gloss over PCI compliance. A lot of times advisors will ask that, but they don't really have any follow-up. And many times, let's be honest, who even actually knows what you're asking about when you're talking about PCI compliance? But I want to give you the gold standard. If you work with any type of software provider, they have to be able to do and complete a third-party PCI compliance audit. And they have to be able to show you an attestation of compliance for PCI compliance. If they can't show that, they're not PCI compliant. And the reason we mention that is, as we've been in the industry for many years now, we thought this was an expected thing and that it was table stakes. And we found that it is actually quite uncommon for many, if not most, software companies in the leisure travel industry serving travel advisors to actually not just be self-stated PCI compliant, but have gone through a third-party audit and have received an attestation of compliance. So our main point here as being stewards of the industry is to encourage you, no matter what software you use, whether it's Travefy or other systems, ask them for details about PCI compliance and how their platform is PCI compliant. Ask them when they did their last third-party audit. Do they have an attestation of compliance? Those are really important things, especially from a PCI compliance standard.
But see, just the word attestation, like I wouldn't have known that.
It's hard enough to say.
You are very brilliant in this.
It's really hard to say. But the main point with all of this is Travefy goes through all of that. We invest a lot of time and a lot of resources to be able to complete these third-party audits to protect your data, to protect your clients, ensure that we're always abiding by industry standards for PCI compliance. So these are things that we do. We encourage you to always ask your technology providers if they are doing these things as well.
Yeah. So see, I had to have him explain it because it's really, really, really important, knowing that this, the safety and security of your business and your clients' information, which is so important. But we're going to go into forms though here in a little bit and talk more and show you all the different ways. But you really can create a form for anything, whether it is like the PCI or the credit card authorization, but also e-signatures. So you can create waivers in there as well. But we also have a lot of form templates that you can use. And I'm going to give you some freebie stuff here in just a little bit, so stay tuned. So you can get started with some forms, because of course you can build your own, but we do have a lot already available to you. So I'll share that with you in just a few minutes here. But just to show you the other, point on the other stuff that we're going to be covering today, the other thing is invoicing. Now, this is probably where your head was going when you heard like the credit card authorization. You're like, okay, what about, like I need to collect service fees from clients. And you can do this in Travefy. We released this a year ago where you have invoicing in your account. I'll show you where you access it. And then you can actually collect your service planning fees. This is really important because this can only be used for collecting service and planning fees. Again, the legal side, the PCI, that's what you have to do. So I will walk through that, but we use Stripe. So we set up, you can set up an account through Stripe, and that's what you're going to use through this invoicing feature here. So here's the great thing about it being set up that way. And since we're using Stripe, you actually, Travefy doesn't have any, we don't take any percentage of payments. We don't do that because you're just using it as a tool to keep it organized. But the great thing is Stripe, they just have a processing fee of like 2.9%. So it's very industry standard, nothing crazy, but it's a really great way that you can just request, service fees or planning fees, consultation, whatever you like to call it, from your clients. And it's really simple for them to fill it out, put in their card information or bank. You can set it up, completely control what you want to accept, all that good stuff. So we'll go into it, but it's really incredibly easy and awesome. I think it's a really great tool for those looking for a way to safely and securely, collect your planning fees. And then the next thing that we're going to go into is automation. This thing is powerful. So automation, we just keep releasing new parts to this. But basically, with everything we're talking about, you're like, how great would it be if you're like, can I just like set this and forget it, or set up, a reminder that I need to send this form to this client 30 days before their trip. So instead of manually, going in doing that, you can set this up to automate. Now, of course, there's many different use cases of this. We have a couple examples down here of like, sending a travel insurance form 120 days before departure, or sending a bon voyage message the morning of departure. All of that stuff you can automate, whether you're sending the trip invite, you can set up a task for yourself. So you can literally say like, oh, I need to call them, next in 7 days or something. Set that up for yourself. You can automate to send forms, chat message through the app, even credit card authorization. So if you ever like to do like payment plans, this is how you would set that up. So there's so much you can do in there. It's insane. You can see this example that we have on the slide of sales workflow, where it's like a reminder to send the proposal, an automatic trip send, all of that. Now, when we go through it here at the end, it'll make a lot of sense of ways you can use this, but to try to bring this together for you, we also have a library sharing gallery that has free stuff in it. So really quick, Bonnie, I know you're probably back there, or Scott, whichever one, I know you're like back there fire rapid typing, but if you could drop in the link to our library sharing gallery, I'm going to come back and talk about this more at the end. But this is really amazing because we have a lot of templates of forms in here, of trip task lists, all kinds of stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff, but it's really, really helpful because it's going to help you get started and piece things together for you so you can use what we have, or you can customize it and build your own. But it's a really great starting off point in there. And really quick, we're going to put the link in there, but how you actually access this is if you go to our support center, which is travefy.com/support, or if you're in your account, you can also click the help button, top right-hand corner here, and then go to library samples. And this is that. So this is what it is right here. And again, there's tons of free stuff in there that you can use. All right, so that's where I want to leave you at. So now I really want to go in. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, for those especially who can't stay here for the whole hour with us. Hopefully that was helpful to really see, everything that you can do and how it all works with your system or with your business. But now I really just want to go in and actually walk through this with you together. So if you are new to Travefy, what you're seeing on your screen right now is what you would see when you log in. You'll be able to see the trips you're working on, all of that good stuff. Now, a couple places that we want to go first is our main headquarters of our CRM. I like to say this is your home base, and that is going to be contacts. So when you hear us talk about CRM, you'll hear us a lot of times say contacts. And contacts, again, think of this as your home base of your CRM, because this is really where all that contact information for your clients is living at and organizing itself. So we're going to start in here. And again, how you get here is when you first log into your account, you'll see contacts at the top, and that's what you're going to click on. So you can see that I already have some in here. If you have a new account, you might not have any in here yet. Otherwise, if you see some and you're like, where did those come from? It's because if you sent them a form or a trip, it automatically creates a contact in here for that person. Now, you also can import contacts as well. So if you already have contacts, somewhere else, or you have like an Excel spreadsheet, you can import them really easily into here by clicking this import contacts button. And then you can go ahead and upload contacts right in here. So know that you can do that. If you are getting set up, just upload that file in here. We even give you a template file that you can download and use that to really quickly upload those contacts in there. So really quick and easy. Otherwise, you also can just do one-off contacts. If you just want to click new contact, start building a new one from there, you can do that too. But what I want to do is I just want to walk you through the interface here. And again, here's the beauty. This is simple. That's what's so great about this is it's not overcomplicating. Not like other CRMs out there that have so many. I mean, I would never know where to begin. You have to do hours and hours of training to understand, but this is easy. You can see, I'm going to go into a contact profile here of Jane Doe, just as an example to walk you through. And this is where all of this information is living. And it's amazing because I have things like all the details, you can add email, phone, address. You can also include your own custom fields in here as well, which I'm going to talk more about because this is a really cool tool that, we automatically just give you phone, address, email, but we realize that every user typically needs to capture different types of information. So that's why we give you the ability to just manage your own and just create all the custom fields that you would need. And then that way, they'll always be on all these profiles for you to use. So things like birth dates, anniversary, passport number, all of that kind of stuff can live in there. And again, we're going to come back to custom fields because these start to work with your forms, and I'm going to show you how. But then you also have, the ability to keep notes, all the time, if you get off a call with Jane Doe and you're like, oh, I need the notes that I talked about on this call, you can do that. You can leave some notes for yourself. You also can view, of course, what trips you've shared with them. So the beauty of this being in your Travefy account is we can see what trips you've shared with them. So you can see the proposals, all of that. Same thing with those forms. So those forms, which we'll dig into here in a few minutes, is that when they fill out a form, you come and get that information that they filled out in their profile. So notice how it's organizing itself in here. So it's really a place that's catching all their information. And then one of the greatest things is also we have a document section where you can upload documents. So whether it's like for, tour vouchers, or if it's a passport photo scan, all of that information can live right in here, and it's safe and secure in there as well. So that document area is a safe and secure area, which is really, really great. And I'm going to tell you also how forms can intertwine with all of this in there as well, because if they upload, a passport photo on a form, it automatically sends itself into this document area. It's amazing. It's so cool. So I will walk you through how that would work. But it's really incredible how this all lives right in here. So again, very simple. Again, you can also, for those of you who do group trips, you can also label your contacts. You can start to group them together, all of that good stuff. So there's really a lot of features and tools for almost everything you need in here. You also can add tasks for yourself for this person. So let's say, I talked to Jane Doe on the phone and I told her I'll send her a proposal in the next couple days. So I could say, okay, add a task for myself. And I'm going to say send proposal with 2 Cancun resort options. And then I can add notes in here. And then I can say, make sure that I do this by Thursday. And I want a reminder at 9 a.m. In there as well. And that's all I do. So notice how you can start to do stuff like that in there too, which is really, really impressive and really cool in there. But now one thing that I really want to walk through, because again, it's really great, all the different things you can see that you can do within each contact profile in here. And you can just again click, into each person. But now I want to talk to you about how forms works within contacts. Because forms is, again, it's really powerful. And since you're using forms in Travefy, it's going to connect itself to these contacts. So if you ever need to send a form to somebody, there's a couple ways you can do it. If you want to send a form to Jane Doe, I can just click send form and I can see here's the forms that I have. I can also build a new form right here without leaving this window. And then that way it just sends directly to them. And then again, I can see that, it's been sent, or if I need to come in and view responses, I can. But forms also is living in your library. So I'm going to take a step out here really quick. We were in contacts. So right up here at the top, this top toolbar at that blue toolbar at the top, but I'm going to click into the library. Now I'm going to go in here because this is really where you can start setting up and organizing forms. Now, if you're not familiar, your library is a place where you save information to reuse. So before we had forms and all of this other amazing CRM functionality, library was really where you were housing your like itinerary and proposal content. So like maybe you had resort information, tours. Now that's all still in here, but now the library is also your central location where your forms, your task lists, all of that is being housed as well. So when you want to create a new form, what you do is you come into your library, click new library item, and then you can see here's the drop down, click form. This is all you're going to do. It's really simple. Another thing I got to say, it's so simple and easy, which is great, very user friendly, where you can just come in, start adding here. I'm just going to say form example. And then you can just add new one by one. So if you've ever built forms in other platforms like Google Forms, things like that, it's very similar. You're just adding your questions one by one. But we also do have templates available for you to use. So we do have this drop-down menu. We have templates. And then, of course, we have that shared library gallery that we gave you the link to earlier. There's some stuff in there that you can pull into your library. But otherwise, all you're going to do is you can create, from these templates, or just click add new and you can choose, are you adding a question? Do you want to add like text and an image? So this is great if you ever want to add like a logo at the top, or, depending on what type of form you're creating, you can add photos and text only. You can also embed a calendar, like Calendly, Scheduler, you can embed that in here as well. But just to make this simple for the sake of time, I'm just going to add a couple questions with you here. So I'm going to add a new question. And here's what you do. So what you do is you say, add your question. So maybe you're going to ask it like, what is your full name? Or maybe you just say like name. And then you can also include additional information. So you could put in here like as shown on your passport or anything else that you need to include. You can do that, or you can leave it blank. And then over here on the right-hand side, this is where you decide what is the type of response you're needing. Now you could say, I just need a short answer, so they can fill out their name. But what I would recommend is choosing smart fields when you can. Now, bear with me here because I'm going to tell you, this is going to be the biggest pro tip of all for forms is smart fields. Now, what a smart field is a smart field means that that information is going to automatically place itself in the contact profile. So when this person, if this is a new client, they fill out this form and I say, okay, create a new contact profile out of this information, we're going to know where to plug this information in at. This is going to make sense because I have an example for you. So I'm going to say, I need this as a smart field. I want it to be the contact name. And we'll say, yes, this is required. So I'll say, okay, there we go. Now, maybe the next question I ask is email address. So I can say I'm asking for the email. So again, from this dropdown, I'm going to choose a smart field and then I'm going to say email. And notice how it actually starts to notice that anyway. So then we can say, okay, so email. Now you can do all kinds of stuff. You can also, if you've added custom fields, you can also add those as smart fields too. So let's say, for example, I asked birth date. Now I can say, okay, smart field. That's what we want. We want the smart field. Now in here, it's going to be listed under my custom fields because we don't automatically have the birth date option. So you just have to add it as a custom field. And then you just choose it and we'll say it's required. And then that's it. So we're going to see, I'm going to show you what this looks like once they fill it out, but just to very quickly see how you add those. And then what you can do is you can always look at what this looks like, just click preview, and you can see this is what it looks like for the client, you know, all that good stuff. You can see there's a date option in there. If they view this on their mobile device, it'll scale down in size as well. But when you want to send this to them, all you do is click the share button and then just click email form, and you can either email this right to them, or if you want, you can also grab this link. So if you want to grab this link and just put it in your own email, or like if you have a Facebook group or, you know, whatever, because again, this form might be just a general lead generation tool that you're just like, I'm just trying to get new leads. Then you can get that link as well and send it to them. Now let's go over what happens when it gets filled out. So I have an example here for you. So when you send this to them and they fill it out, what's going to happen is that you're going to get an email notification letting you know that they filled it out, and you're going to be able to come in and view it. And I have an example here. So I have this client intake form that I responded to earlier, so you can see what this looks like. Now you can see in this form, I have under responses, I can look. And you can just quickly, you can download a PDF of what they filled out. You can see here's what they filled out. You can also export this. So if you do need to export a spreadsheet of all this information, great for group trips, you can do that. You can export it. But do you notice here how it says assigned a contact? Now, if this person, if Bob Smith was already in my contact profiles, it would recognize this person already, and it would just know where to send this form response to. But this is a new contact. So what I can do is click assign to contact. Now I can choose, is it assigning to an existing, so you can merge them together if you need, or to a new. This is new, so I'm going to choose a new contact. And then we're going to say create and assign. And there it is. Now, check this out. Watch what happens here. I am going to go back into my contacts, which again is at the top. Click contacts. Bob Smith is here. Look at this. Amazing. So you can see, look at how this information plugs in. It plugs in automatically, and then I can look at the forms as well. So really simple, really easy how they work together in there. Now I'm going to go back into the library because I want to show you, I know credit card authorization is really big and there's probably questions already happening about this. So whenever you want to do a credit card authorization or like e-signature, just go into your form, and we do have a template you can use right away when you're building a new form. But when you want to add the credit card authorization question, you just add it as a new question, and then in this dropdown, you're going to see card authorization. Now, if you do not see this option, that is because you don't have two-factor authentication turned on in your account. So because of PCI compliance, you do have to turn on this extra layer of password protection. Now, I'm sure that they'll just if Bonnie or Scott, if you could throw the FAQ of how you get that set up in there, but it's in your account settings. It's really easy, you know, where we just have to send you like a code to your phone just so you can double confirm who you are. And then once you have that turned on, you'll see this option, this card authorization. And then once you have it, let's just say card info, you're just going to say, you know, is it required? Do you want to collect CVV? So you do have to manually press yes. And then before you send this off, you do have to toggle down this default authorization information because you will have to include what is this for. This is also part of PCI compliance. This is also going to save you if there's anything that happens like a chargeback. That is why we require this. So you do have to put in the description. You have to say like, what is it for? And then you can say, what is the amount? Or you can allow the client to specify. So if it's like payment plans, you can allow them to specify what they want to pay. And then you can also set a deadline to say, once this person fills out the card or fills out this information, when does this expire? When can I no longer get this card information? So you do have to set that as well. So make sure that you set it long enough so that way, you have it for as long as you need. But also, if you ever need to go back and you need to request it again, just send the form again, and you can get more information from your client. But that's all you do. And now when they fill this out, it's really simple for them to fill it out. Once they do, they'll receive a PDF copy of what they filled out as well. And then you have it too. And then when you need to retrieve their information, it's going to work like any other form that has been filled out, where you're going to go into their contact profile and view the forms they filled out. So let me show you this. So I have an example here where Jane Doe has filled out this form. And you can see I need to go get her card information. So I'm going into her profile. I'm going to click forms. And then if you see view responses, here it is right down here. See how she added this? Now I have to click view details. Now what's going to happen? This new screen appears. I can now click view card number, and I can also view, CVV. Don't get too excited. This card is fake before you go on a shopping spree. But as you can see, that's how this works. So again, you're just clicking view details. It opens it up, and then you just have to click it one more time. And I love how it disappears itself after like 60 seconds. So if you accidentally walk away from your computer in like a coffee shop and it's just like open, it'll close itself up. So again, the safe and security of that, which is really awesome. But okay, I know I have a lot to cover here, so I'm going to kind of start getting a little, not too speedy, but I do want to make sure that I leave time for questions here. So with all of that, the other thing that I want to talk about is that we do have a free form for you. I created it in hopes to share this. So we were talking about the smart fields. This form right here, I'm going to drop this in the chat. This right here that I just put in the chat, this you can copy into your library, and I added smart fields. So if you don't have smart fields currently yet, this is a great way to get started. You can copy this to your account, and these smart fields will go in there. And I added smart fields like birth date, passport number, emergency information, all that good stuff. So that way you have that ready to go in there. Okay, so now the other thing that I wanted to talk about, that we didn't really discuss is like e-signatures. Those also work the same way in forms as well. With at the bottom, you can always toggle it on. So if you go to our library sharing gallery, we have a lot of templates that you can use for like insurance, declining insurance, stuff like that have waivers. So check those out. Highly recommend checking those as well. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about as well, that I want to make sure I bring into this conversation is automations. Because we're talking now about, these forms like sending invoices and all this good stuff. But I've already seen some questions like, okay, now how can you bring it together to automate? And that is automations. Now, there are many different ways that you can do automations, and that's the beauty of it. It's very flexible. But the way that I want to show you first is in the library. So we're already in our library. So what you can do is you can set up what we call trip task lists. Now, a trip task list is where there's multiple automations built into one. And the idea behind it is that you are using all of those automations for one trip or like one contact. So it's a really great way to group things together so you never forget anything, which is great. So let me walk you through and explain this. So when you're in here, let's say you have a new trip task list you want to create. So you're just going to click the new library item, and you're going to choose task list and then title it. So let's say I'm going to say pre and post trip task list. Now, heads up, I have a free one for you. But just to walk you through how I set this up, what you do is you can start adding automations and tasks in here. So now let's look at our automation options. So you can say, okay, let's add an automation in here. Now your options for an automation: email trip invite, Now, what that means is that's sending, when you're building an itinerary and you email that trip to somebody, that's what that is. It's an email trip invite. So this is a great way that if you need to send this, like maybe like a day before their trip, 7 days before their trip, and you say, make sure you download the app, check out your itinerary or, all that good stuff. You can add messages in here and you can even save messages too to reuse over and over again as well. But that's what the trip invite is. So again, you're probably likely sending that before the trip, but maybe you set it up to send a year after the trip and say, hey, remember this trip you went on last year? Like, let's start planning your next one. So think of the possibilities here. There's so many things. The other thing that you can automate is that form. Now, again, you can automate any form. A couple examples of what you might want to automate is a post-trip survey. Maybe you create a post-trip survey and you have it send 3 days after their trip end date. Maybe it's payment plans. So maybe you have this where the task list is 4 different form sends of payments. And so that way it sends every 30 days, it just sends it off. That's how you can set that up. Now you can search for all your forms in here. And then again, you can include a custom message if you want, and then you schedule it and say, you can choose a specific date. But if it's a task list, you can say, is it certain days before the trip start date? Is it, after the trip start date? What time do you want it to send? All of that good stuff in there. The other option that you can automate is a trip chat message. Now, this is when you have that mobile app. So your client has the Trip Plans mobile app, and then you also have a Travefy Pro mobile app. You can actually automate a trip chat message. I love this for a bon voyage message. Let me just say, if you set this up to say, like a day before their trip, a chat message goes into their app that says, wishing you the best journey, know that I'm here and happy to help. Use this chat if you have any questions. Amazing. So cool there that you can set those up. Or you can set it to check in. Maybe you have it set that says like 5 days into their trip. It's a quick check-in message. Now, another thing, the final thing you can do is set up those invoices. Now, you can also set up an invoice in here as well. Now, the invoicing you'll have to set up in your invoice area, which I will show you right after this that you can set up. But once it is, you'll have the option for invoicing, and then you can also automate that as well. So it's really insane and cool how many things you can do in here. And then when you set up these task lists in here, and one thing I forgot to mention, you can also just set up plain old tasks. So a task is just for yourself to see. So it's not a task for your client, it's a task for you. So this is really handy if you're like, 30 days before the trip, your task is like check to make sure the itinerary is all set, or make sure all bookings are confirmed, things like that. So you do have that option as well. But then once you create these automations and tasks, you can add them in a couple places. You can add them in a contact. So if you want to import, an entire list to a contact. So good example of this is if you do set up like a payment plan, you can go ahead and import that just into that person's contact profile. So it sends to them directly. You can also include it on trips. So if you click on a trip, and then you say import a task list in here. You can say import task list. Here is my new trip task list. You can see it imports and it'll automatically put the times or the dates into there for you based off the trip start date. You have it that way. And then finally, the last place that you can add tasks and automations is at the top here. You can click. So if you can see, it's really small on your screen, but next to my name on the left-hand side, there's a clipboard here. And this is where you also can add tasks for yourself. This is really handy if you're like, literally, I just need to remember to do this one thing before I forget. Add a task in there. And then you can always come in here, view all your trip task list or tasks in here. And you can see like everything that like, I am clearly overdue on some of these tasks from December 11th. But you can see what these are for. You can filter by, is it automated? Is it a manual task? If you have a team, you can see, you can assign them to other people. Lots of things you can do in there. A big pro tip here, if you have the Travefy Pro app to your phone, which if you don't, download it on your mobile device, just go to the App Store or Google Play Store, and you'll also be able to see your tasks in there, and you can add tasks for yourself too, which is incredible. Super cool. So when you're on the go and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to reach out to that supplier, just make a task really quick. So it's amazing that they all are really just living in this one area within your Travefy account in here. One last thing, I know I am coming, so I knew this would be close on time. I just want to show you really quick where to access invoicing. To access your invoicing, get it set up so you can start collecting, like service fees and consultation fees. Just click your name, top right-hand corner, click invoices, and then this is where you'll see them. You'll have to set it up first, like with Stripe. Super easy. It usually takes like a business day, if that, to get it set up. And then you can see here, like, look at, I have one paid. Where you can see here, this person's paid, and you can go in and then I can click and view it in Stripe to like get all the information, view invoice. But I love how it's set up with Stripe because you can also customize your invoicing to like be branded, put your logo, all that good stuff. But it's nice having Travefy as a simple solution to just set up these invoices and send them. So really cool. And we have more information, some help in our getting started guide videos, all that good stuff. Which brings me in, I'm just going to show you now really quick. I want to wrap up and then we're going to get into questions. Is if you do need support as you're going through all of this, when you're in your account, live chat us down here. Just send us a message. Really quick, easy way to get questions answered. But then also go back to that support center. If you click the help button, top right-hand corner in your account, again, tons of stuff in here. We have really quick videos in here that you can check out. You can also access those library samples, FAQs, schedule one-on-one trainings, all of that good stuff in there as well. And then finally, if you aren't a user of Travefy, you can go to travefy.com, start a free trial. During that trial, I highly recommend do a demo with our team, explore that support center, all that good stuff. Really dig in. You'll have access to everything in there during that time. And then for pricing, we do have subscription-based pricing. So you can subscribe monthly, quarterly, or annually. Annually is going to be your best option. You're going to save 20% automatically on that. So highly recommend the annual subscription on that. And then again, great thing, it includes everything. So don't forget that your subscription is going to have everything we talked about and even all the stuff we didn't talk about, which is quite a bit. So really awesome there. Okay, taking a breather. Scott, I see you're back on here. How were the questions? There's a lot, huh?
So I have to say, everyone, you had some incredible questions, and I can already tell you, we're not going to get to all of them. It's not you, it's us. We literally are human. We can't get to all of them. So thank you for the questions. A lot of really incredible detailed questions about how you can really build this up in your workflows and stuff. So we do appreciate it. We're going to take some time. We'll probably even go over a few minutes, get to as many questions as possible. But as Stephanie mentioned, reach out to our support team using the live chat. Head over to our Facebook group and you can connect with other users there. We try to answer questions after webinars in there as well. But yes, we're definitely happy to answer as many questions as possible in there. We did have a request to reshare the task list template.
Yeah, I just put it in there. I totally forgot to do that. Yeah,
awesome.
No, and I am very proud of this task list. So I hope you all enjoy it. It's really great. And it has forms in it and saved messages. So it's like double whammy of content for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So first question, and it's not so much a question, but a statement. Victoria asked and literally said, wait, the CRM's already included in our Travefy account? And the answer is yes. So all of the functionality that we covered today that Stephanie went through in the demo, all of that's included in your account. The CRM, contact management, custom fields, secure document storage, forms, credit card authorization, e-signature, the form templates, all of those are included in your Travefy account. So Travefy is trying to add more and more value to your Travefy account, not nickel and dime you for this feature and that feature and this add-on in that regard. So we're trying to keep it really, really simple for you that way. So now getting into questions. Get ready, Stephanie.
I'm ready. I'm prepared.
Um,
I think.
so this was a great one that we can touch on. I would love to see a suggested kind of roadmap or guide of how to get started with Travefy, how to get set up with your info. And it's funny, Stephanie and Bonnie just finished putting together a 4-part training class that we call Travefy Training Class. That we just launched. If you're interested in it, shoot a live chat message or email our support team. I think Stephanie's feverishly grabbing the link to it that you can check out as well. But this 4-part training class is designed to be super simple and help you get started with Travefy. How to set up your website and landing page in a basic travel agency website, how to get organized with your client information with Travefy CRM and forms, how to sell your first trip using quotes and proposals. All of those really basic step-by-step guides. It's also really cool. Stephanie and Bonnie did a really great job where they'll build the lesson out. So it's a short 30, 40-minute lesson. But then as they walk you through things, they leave time for you to actually follow along and do things in there. So it's a really great training class as you're jumping in and getting started with that. Sorry, I answered that question for you, but
no, that's okay because I was getting the link. So I think, yeah,
I could tell you.
Even Scott's excited for it. It's gonna. Yes. We're pumped. We're really excited to launch it. So you all might be the first people in there, which is really exciting.
Yep. So here's a question. Bonnie and I saw this in a few different places. Hey, if we have our client information somewhere else in some other system, how do we get it into Travefy?
That is a great question. So what you'll want to do, and we make it easy for you. So you're able to import your contacts. So here's what you're going to want to do. So come into contacts. So when you get in your account, click into contacts. And then on the left-hand side, see where you can say new contact. But if you click new contact, it's just going to open a new one that you can start plugging information in. So then what you want to do instead is click import contacts right below it. And then you can actually just upload a spreadsheet or a file, Excel sheet in here. And it's really easy, but we do need it to be in this order. So it has to be like last name, first name, email. But here's the cool thing. Our product or our dev team made this really easy for everybody because if you click right here where it says download the template file, click that and it's going to download it in a way that, or it's going to give it to you. So it's already in the format we need and the order. And then you can just go in and copy and paste all of your contact information. So you might just need, depending on what you're currently using and how you have them saved, you might need to export those out in a spreadsheet and then plug them into here. And then you can go ahead and just upload it. And then all of them will come in here. So they'll just all import all their information right in here. So it's pretty simple. But if you do need help or you have questions, and just let our support team know. Again, use that chat and we'll help walk you through that too.
Cool. Nice one. I will take this question so you can take a breather. You might have to pull something up, but the question is from Gail. Can you link or group clients together in the contacts? And so answer is yes. In here, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a section for labels. You can use labels to create labels of different types. Maybe it's types of trips, all-inclusives, cruises, destination weddings, things like that. Maybe it's names of groups. This is my 2025 AMA Waterways Danube group cruise, or this is my Norwegian 5-day Western Caribbean cruise group, something like that. You can apply different multiple labels in there. So there were a few different questions of, hey, I want to organize my clients, I want to group them, I want to organize them. I don't see a folder structure. The reason we offer labels is that it's an easy, really flexible, versatile way. You can only have one client in one folder. Whereas with labels, you can use them really flexibly. You can denote groups and family affiliations. You can denote types of interests of types of trips. Maybe you want to add in different pricing sensitivities or price ranges for clients with dollar signs. I remember this on a webinar, Stephanie. We had an advisor that had a label that they phrased as NBA, and they applied that to all their clients. That way they would never book again. NBA, never book again, because they're nightmare clients for them. And they're like, nope, not doing this. If I ever get an email or a request from them, I'll just professionally say
Decline.
I can't service your needs. So, but that's why we use labels. It can really give you the flexibility to group and organize your clients that way. But if you need if you have other ideas or have other interests in how to organize your clients, shoot us a note. We love any of that feedback in there. Now, another question here comes, Stephanie. Dev asks, can I have clients upload passports with their Travefy forms?
Yes, and I didn't go in this, so I'm so glad you asked. So yes, you can. So it's really easy. I'm going to go back out to the library because I'm going to go back into build a form. And what you do when you're building forms, it is actually just going to be like a response, a type of response. So you're just going to say add new and then question. And then let's just say like upload passport scan, whatever you would call it. And then in this dropdown, you are going to see the option contact document upload. So we don't specifically call it a passport because there might be other documents you need them to upload to. So that's why we just say contact document upload. That's all it is. And then you can go ahead. This default contact name is, you don't have to fill that out, but that's what is going to be the name when it plugs itself into their contact profile. So I'm going to put passport scan, and then you can include any other information if you want. But then what is so cool about this is then when they're viewing this form, so let's just preview it. They will be able to upload a document. And I love it because if I'm on my phone, I can actually like take a picture right then and there, and then it just uploads it. But it gets even better because once they upload this, you'll be able to, of course, go and view the response and see the picture that they uploaded, but you don't have to spend time downloading it to your desktop and then uploading it into Travefy. It'll do it automatically by going into the contact. So that person, if this Bob Smith ended up putting a picture or a document, it would actually go directly under docs for this person. So it puts itself in here right away, which is incredible. But also the other thing I want to note with passports is you can also add this as a custom field. And we do have like those secure options. So you can always ask for passport number too, but we understand that you want to just get a picture of it so you can make sure that it was input correct, because that could be really bad. So that's why we did that. So you can ask for both of those options and get an actual picture too, so you can have it stored for if you need it.
Awesome. Next question. If I input a task reminder, where and how will I be notified of the reminder? Lots of people are asking this.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. So basically what it'll do is it's going to remind you in a few different ways. So if you have like a task or that reminder, notice. So here's the first place. If you notice, there's like that red dot just telling me like I'm well overdue on some of this stuff here because they are samples. My demo things here, you can see how it's like red. It's overdue. So you'll see it up there. But also that's why I recommend getting that mobile app, the Travefy Pro app, because you'll actually get notified as a push notification. So when you do have stuff due, it'll come on your phone as a push notification in there as well, which is really, really great. So there's a couple ways that it'll be notifying you, but that's the biggest one that I would recommend is get that app, because then it will really be coming in your face and you will never forget anything, which is the point, which we want to try to help you. Exactly. Get that app. That's a new slogan. Get that app.
Right there. I will take this question real quick. Multiple people asked, hey, I love the training class. I'm already a user. Can I still do it? Or actually, I'm not a customer yet. Can I do the training class? Yes, yes, yes. So we purposely set up that training class to make it really simple and easy for those first few steps, those first few areas that you need to learn Travefy and learn some of the system. We purposely did that. There's no paywall. You can just jump on there, check out the classes, and we recommend going through them step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to do that. You could jump around in the lessons if you want to as well, but we built it out that way. So it kind of follows that logical order in there. Next question from Raven. Are there automated task lists that we can create? Like if we have a specific task list for certain types of trips, like an FIT that we want to have happen to do each time, do we have to create that manually each time, or can we create kind of a standardized workflow or automation list?
Yeah, that's a great question, and glad you asked that too, because I had that in my notes, but I just never looked at it. So what you can do, highly recommend doing that. So in your library, you can create like a general, I've seen people do this, and this might be a really good way to do it, is create a task list that literally has like everything you possibly need to do. Because when you do upload it, like in a trip, you can, or to a specific trip, you can remove them out. You can say like, I don't need that one for this, or maybe you add in a couple that you do need. So you can do it that way. And then you can always copy these. So you can create like, just click those little three dots when you're editing, and it'll copy it so you can create new versions of it. Because what I've also seen users do is they'll create a version of a task list that's like for cruises. And then they have a version of a task list for like Disney, or whatever the different types of travel that you do. You also, maybe you separate, you have like a task list, a pre-trip, and then there's like a post, and then you have like a task list of proposals. So it's like it's not booked yet, but I do have some things that I need to make sure I do touch points for this person. So there's many different ways you can do that. And again, highly recommend check out to get yourself started. If you go to our library sharing gallery and then go into the forms and tasks, if you scroll down past the forms, you'll see some task lists. We have a sample sales flow one, but then the one that I just recently created was a pre and post one. And you can just click get task list, and then you can copy this into your account. And then once it's in there, just you'll be able to go in and view it. Just like this, like you'll be able to click into it and then see, and you can edit them and make them your own. And then again, copy, add things, remove things. So really versatile in that way.
Mhm. Perfect. Another question from Victoria. We're several minutes over. We'll probably do one or two more questions, and then we can encourage you guys to reach out to our support team or head over to the Facebook group. But we'll go a few extra innings here. Victoria asked, instead of sending a client multiple forms, can we combine forms? Like if we have a client information form and a credit card authorization, can we combine those together to send one form instead?
Yes, you definitely can. And I've seen that a lot too, because again, the really great thing is you could do that, and then you can set up like a form that has many questions, but it's like, well, these are anything that I'm ever going to ask you is already in this form. And so then that way it starts to fill all this, your custom fields, your details, and then you have access to all of that information in one form. So yes, you definitely can do that if you need to just add everything. But also that also brings up a really cool thing too, is if you set up, you can set up your own proposal agreement form. So when you send a proposal through Travefy, and this is in your account settings, and what I've seen people do is they'll put credit card authorization in it, and like along with all the other questions or things that they're going to need. And so that way, the moment someone approves that proposal, they're also at the same time filling out all the information that you need to start booking that trip. And so you get it all in one swoop. So that's a great example of like how that could be really useful.
Awesome. Now I saw a few questions come in about how would we use automations to create like literally a payment plan, so that we want a credit card authorization to send to a client every 30 days leading up to a trip, or if we have to align that towards supplier due dates for payments. How could you set that up? I think maybe answer it briefly, and then I think this would actually be a great Facebook group video that we could create to walk people through that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because there's two ways you could do that. So I'll make it brief. So what you could do is you can always come in here and just create it as like a task list. So you could say like payment, thing, and whatever you want to call it, and then just add some you'll just add the form of the credit card authorization in here, and in the video that we put in, I'll make it more detailed. You'll just put them in there that way, and then you can just say like, is the date 90 days before the trip start date, and then I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to say it's 60 days and then 30 days, and then you can import it into a trip. Now you can do it that way. You also can just manually add them in the contacts. So if it is like associated with the supplier and you're like, I know they need it on this date, so I'm just going to go ahead and add in an automation for Bob Smith right now. That's just like a one-off, thing. So we'll make a video on that. That's a really cool, good question in there, but there's a couple ways you can do that for sure.
Awesome. Awesome.
Perfect.
So we're about 10 minutes over. Thank you everyone for
Lot.
hanging in there with us. We really appreciate it. Tons and tons of questions. We know we did not get to all of the questions in detail. So please feel free to reach out to us. Also, please note this. Did you know Stephanie and Bonnie host a daily webinar? You might not have known that.
True.
So if you're still looking for some questions, I would encourage you not just use our customer support team with the live chat, but also feel free to jump on one of our daily webinars. You can find those by going to travefy.com/support. Daily webinars for getting started, as well as tips and tricks. Stephanie hosts the Getting Started webinar. Bonnie hosts the Tips and Tricks webinar. But those are really great so that you can still fire away your questions, get lots of great help with those along the way. But we encourage you to jump in and check those out and head over to our Facebook group, and you can connect with other members of the Travefy community. So thank you, Stephanie. Great job today. Thanks for educating us.
It was a lot, everybody. I was like, whoa, there's just so much, but there's so much to talk about. So hopefully it was helpful. And again, I will be putting this on YouTube, and I'm going to put like some of the links we shared along with, the free task list, all that good stuff. But then let's go reconnect on the Facebook group. I'll be in there shortly and see you all there. And thanks again. And thanks, shout out to Bonnie in the back. I know she's working hard back there.
Bonnie.
And thanks for joining, Scott. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys. Have a good day.
See you later.